Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. Is there a definitive study that shows that one diet is healthier than another? And frankly, there's not much out there. There's, frankly, not much of a way you can show that Mediterranean is going to be better than the DASH diet, which is going to be better than the carnivore, keto, low carb, whatever approach. I mean, you can't really do that because it will require you to separate people and to really control a lot of variables. But there's one study out there that shines head and shoulders above all others that shows that one diet in particular will kill you deader than dead. It is the most deadly diet on the planet, and it's definitively proven to be so. And strangely, it's the one that our government recommends and pushes on our kids and on our soldiers and on our senior citizens and anybody else that has to follow the government's food pyramid, government dietary guidelines. That study that proved this was the Minnesota coronary heart study. It was done between 1968 and 1973, and it was really the definitive study that showed that when you reduce dietary fat, you actually do reduce people's serum cholesterol. But it also showed it doesn't protect anybody from heart attacks. And when you increase vegetable oils in people's diet, they die much faster. All-cause mortality was much higher in that study. And you might think, well, that was just, a study. No. Frankly, it was a phenomenal study done with a large group of people over 5 years, very well controlled. And it was double blind. I mean, this guy went out, the researcher got the Minnesota State Legislature to change the law that before that, in 1967, you had to cut margarine into a triangle shape so that people at restaurants could tell the difference between margarine and butter. And he forced them to change the law so that they could make margarine into squares so that people couldn't tell which group they were in. And the people that were getting the low-fat diet were getting the skim milk, the vegetable oils, margarine. The other group was getting regular saturated fat, whole milk, and butter. And they compared the two groups, and yeah, it reduced serum cholesterol, but it didn't stop heart attacks, and it killed people. Now, you would think that would be front page news. Here was a definitive study that showed that the diet that Ansel Keys and all of his contemporaries were all pushing, and that the McGovern Commission was pushing, and our government was pushing, would actually kill you. You'd think that would be front page news. But it wasn't, because the researcher that was in charge of it was also a devotee of Ansel Keys. And the federal government agency that funded that particular study was also under the control of Ansel Keys. And they suppressed the data. It was published partially in an obscure European journal and then completely ignored. And it would have been forgotten forever, except for one thing. The researcher was a pack rat. He took all the data, all the mag tapes, stored them in his basement. And his son found them at the bequest of one of the researchers who wanted to see what the data actually showed. And he dug it up, pulled up all the data, analyzed it, and realized, my God, this turns everything that we thought we knew about dietary health upside down. Even though his study, the new study that reported all the results and showed definitively that increasing the amount of linoleic acid by using vegetable oils kills you. You would think that would be front page news, but your doctor probably hasn't even heard about it. And this is the problem that we keep seeing with science, and the people that tell you we ought to trust the science and that there's no science that shows that a carnivore diet is safe. Yes, the data is out there. The problem is they're ignoring it. Somebody said one time that you can't force somebody to study something when his job depends on them not studying it. And frankly, because of the psychopathic system that we have that works with such callous disregard for your health, there's so much data out there on a keto low carb approach to dieting and how it can reverse type 2 diabetes, that if it was a drug, it would have FDA approval with no problem. If it wasn't just a lifestyle change and people could make money on it, it would be approved by our federal government. But because nobody can make money on it, nobody pushes it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to study it. Even though there are tons of studies. Keto is by far the most studied diet on the history of the planet. And yet, nobody wants to acknowledge that any of the studies exist. Somebody said one time that, hey, the truth will set you free, but first it's going to really tick you off. Well, frankly, I'm ticked off. I'm ticked off by a system that continuously buries its head in the sand deliberately, ignoring all the studies, all the research that shows that a low-carb approach definitely is the proper human diet, and it protects people's health, and it will keep them from getting type 2 diabetes, and it will stop this rise in morbid obesity that is destroying this country, and it's spreading all over the world. So what do? Well, frankly, I don't think the system can be changed. I think the system is inherently psychopathic, that it works with a complete callous disregard for your health. But you can fix you. Nobody can, they can have all their stuff that they want to talk about and keep claiming that there's no studies. And you can ignore them. It's your choice. Look, the only person that can make you healthy is you. You control what you eat, you control what you do for exercise, and you control how well you sleep. These are things that are within your control. You can control your own health. And it's a great feeling when you do it. Look, 10 years ago, every single day, I was taking 10 meds. And when I thought about it the other day, it dawned on me. Those were 10 meds that could have all been cured by changing my lifestyle. And when I changed my lifestyle, I got off 10 meds. I saved myself thousands of dollars each year, and I don't have to see my doctor anymore. And I can pull myself out of the medical system and save myself even more money because I took control of my health. This is within your control. And that's the beauty of this stuff when you really look at it. After you get ticked off, then you realize, wait a second, I'm responsible. Number two, the cool news is I can do something about it. I can change my own health. And you can. Because in this fight for our health, we're all alone in this. Hey, but thankfully we can all be alone in this together, and that's what makes this journey fun. So if you like this message, please hit the like and subscribe button. That's what helps grow the channel. Make comments down below. Join a community of people that are really working hard to be aware that they control their own health. And I try to put out a new message every single workday. I will talk to you soon.